Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Irn-Cru podcast for the 11th of May. So I'm been roped in to be your host tonight, so it really is a case of the lunatic running the asylum. So I am going to be joined. We've got a special guest and a new crew member for tonight joining us, but we'll introduce the old hand first, and I'm looking at our jet-setting Philadelphia Eagles fan, Kev, who I don't actually believe I've seen since the Super Bowl, so I promise I won't bring that up again. We'll leave it as is. How are you doing tonight, Kev?
Hi, thanks, Dudley. I'm good. I think I did see you once when you were in the car in front of me, and I was giving you the finger.
Yeah, that's it. You're giving me the Scottish two-finger salute.
Until I was doing it quite vigorously until I thought I'm not actually sure that is studs. So I just kind of reined it, and then if it wasn't you that the guy didn't notice. But I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm getting excited for the season to start. The news of the fixtures, the draft being and gone. It's starting to get closer, and I'm starting to get excited again. It was a long, hard off season after that defeat to your guys, but I'm feeling good. Looking forward to chatting.
Definitely, I mean, as you said, the season seems to be getting ever closer now that the draft's out the way. We've now had the schedule getting released, which we'll talk about in a bit more depth as well. So moving on, we're going to introduce our guest joining us this week. We've got Ian, who my sources reliably tell me is from the East Kilbride Pirates in the Britball League, and he's a former Highland Stags offensive coordinator as well. So we've got Tom Green joining us to our chat tonight. So Tom, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm looking forward to it.
Good man, Tom. Listen, much appreciate you jumping in and joining myself and Kev on the chat tonight, and it'll be interesting to get some thoughts outside of our kind of usual group chat nonsense that kind of goes on in and around the NFL. So it'll be interesting to probably get some sensible views compared to what me and Kev have got. And again, it's seen the faces going there. As well, obviously, you've got experience in the Britball community as well, from Highland Stags, and obviously a team fairly local to Kevin, myself, and the East Kilbride Pirates. So, do you want to kind of give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself?
Sorry, you sort of cut off there for a sec on my end.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying, do you want to give us a little introduction into yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, what you do in the Britball world, your NFL team, and kind of how you get into the NFL.
Yeah. Well, I got into the NFL around 2006, mostly just because I'm a bit of an insomniac. So it was the only thing on the television late at night. And first game I watched was, I think it was a Monday night game between the Rams and I can't remember who they were playing, but that just sort of became a team from there. In terms of Britball, I've been involved in Britball since 2013. First with the Highland Wildcats youth setup, then helped form the Highland Stags, managed the team from 2017 until 2021, and started coaching with the Pirates senior and women's teams this year.
Nice one. As I say, obviously East Kilbride, a very local team to myself and Kev, as I says, and my boys, they've been in and out the Hamilton Bucks kind of set up a few times as well, with my oldest one talking about going back to it as well. So it's great to see the Britball community growing, and obviously you've been a major part in that as well, setting up the Highland Stags team, as you mentioned. So how have you found the growth of the Britball game? Do you must take a certain degree of pride in setting up a team, obviously, but how do you find the growth?
I think it's promising. It's promising in some areas, particularly with areas like up north, been able to get some consistent Britball. The Glasgow scene has been pretty good as well, with particularly the likes of Inverclyde coming up. Hopefully it can be sustained, and hopefully maybe get a couple more teams in Scotland. I know that there's been attempts in the past for teams to form in places like Livingston and the such, but will be interesting to see how it grows in the next few years. It can only get more popular with how big the NFL is getting this side of the pond, but
it'll be interesting to see how the Brit Ball game kind of grows, and I know certainly from a kind of outsider looking in, as I said, the
Studs, I can't hear you, mate. Are you on mute?
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
If it's not his internet, it's his microphone.
Yeah, still.
I like that you were trying to type a message to him to discreetly let him know. You just hear you rattling away on your keyboard, Studs. Nobody can hear you. No sound whatsoever, mate. This might be a very short podcast, unless you want to take over, Tom.
Hold on, right.
We've got it now.
We're back. I did warn you guys, it's lunatic running the asylum, honestly. I genuinely, I don't know how I'm allowed to look after my own kids, never mind try and run a podcast. So apologies for that, guys. I hit my mic, it seems to have knocked the wire out, and then it automatically put me on mute.
That's the internet.
Yeah.
Oh. If anybody's watching along here on Twitter, send us a comment while we're waiting for Studs coming back. I don't know. I suppose we know Tom. We know the kind of rough, the rough schedule for this. So do we just moving on to the news?
Yeah. So first, the first kickoff question is that the NFL international games have obviously been announced. Where would you like to see an international game? The one that I think will be the most intriguing could be Jags Bills on the 8th. Just with because we all know how good the Bills are offensively, but the Jags they're getting better. And and it will only be a matter of time before Trevor Lawrence can actually. Well, the problem is he needs a good offensive line. That's always been Jacksonville's problem. But they seem to finally have a quarterback and semi-decent receivers. The running game's still not the best, but that'll probably develop over a couple of. We just need a couple of good drafts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the games they've announced there, I'd love to go see the Ravens in London against the Jags. Yeah. I think that would be a great game to go see. The way I took the kickoff question there was if you could have an international game hosted anywhere in the world, where would you like to go and watch one, and who would you like to be playing? But
no. That was exactly how it was meant, Kev. It was more like a hypothetical one. Where would you like to see the NFL move to next? So we've now had UK for a number of years. We've got Germany now with 2 games. We've had Mexico. Where would you like to see one pop up next?
I think France. Big game in Paris. Stade de France. You'd need it. It'd have to be blockbuster game. You probably have to have the Chiefs there for at least one of the teams. Who they play doesn't really matter, but it needs to be competitive. Ideally, Chiefs Bills, but that's never going to happen.
Nah, I can't see them, any of the two of them, giving up a home game against those teams.
Yeah,
no, that would be pretty nice. For me, it's got to be Glasgow. I'd love to see Glasgow, or I suppose maybe Murrayfield, so maybe Edinburgh.
Oh yeah, the old Claymores then.
Yeah, squeeze a few extra fans in, having it in Edinburgh, the biggest stadium in the country, and obviously being a rugby stadium, then it's maybe better equipped for the sport. But just having one in Scotland would be amazing. I think that'd be a spectacular day out. I think the fans would absolutely love it. And as for the teams, I think obviously I would like the Eagles to come, and I don't really care who we play. Maybe Eagles Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
that certainly generates some interest. I think if you could get that one done and dusted, but I think Murrayfield's one that I think it's a very obvious choice as with us being in Scotland. Obviously, we know we've got that big rugby stadium there. We've had the Claymores here in the past. Of course, we'd love to see an NFL game come up to Murrayfield, or as you said, Kev, up to Glasgow. I think it'd be, and I think Scottish fans generally, I think we all know, love any excuse for a party. So I think we would just, I could see us putting on an absolute show for the NFL. If it was done right, I think that could be an absolute scene. I think for me, one of the ones I was kind of trying to think of, right, where have we seen sort of some big World Cups, and where is there massive markets? For me, I think the one wouldn't surprise me to kind of see pop-ups, probably something like Tokyo.
yeah.
It's just, I think the Asian market is massive at the best of times. If the NFL could crack that, or Australia's probably another one as well, I think you could see the NFL moving there and going even more international. It probably wouldn't be great for us because the timings would be absolutely brutal. But again, these are markets that probably give the NFL a wider scope to kind of go into as well.
I think though, see with those, like they're already doing NFL in Europe, but I mean the flight times over to like the Asia and Australia, I think is that much longer. I don't know, like if they would be prepared to do that. Like,
I mean,
I suppose you never know.
Seattle perhaps would be more willing than most of them. They could maybe even in a place like Hong Kong, because they've already got the facilities for the Sevens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, and again, it's all those things that the NFL would need to consider. And they'd obviously need to get it by the players' union and stuff as well. So it's we'll certainly be interested to see where it grows next. I think for the NFL, I think Paris, as you mentioned, Tom, I think that's a really logical choice. Getting into more mainland European countries, I think really makes sense. And we know we've got a couple of big, massive stadiums in Paris already that house various rugby and football events. So certainly be interesting to see. And again, anything that makes it more accessible for the UK fans, for me, I think it's just onto an absolute winner. And Central Europe's just perfect. So, breaking news, guys. I'm just going to quickly touch on this before we get into the main stuff. Couple of bits of breaking news over the last couple of days. I'm going to save the one I feel is the best one, the most kind of uplifting one, just till last on there, and it's popping along the bottom. But we've got Big Cock Brock. He is expected to be back for training camp for the 49ers. Obviously, rumours are rife that he's going to be their starting QB ahead of the third overall pick, Trey Lance. I think he's certainly earned it. And Tom, going to ask your thoughts on this one. Obviously, a divisional rival. What do you think? Do you think it's Purdy or Lance based on what you've seen firsthand of them?
I don't want to face either of them, ideally. Hopefully they both get injured in pre-season and they have to wheel out someone like Well, I would have said Geno Smith, but he's actually turned out quite good since he's been at Seattle.
Who was the guy that played against you guys, gave the third or fourth string quarterback?
I don't know, but was it no McCaffrey at one point?
Aye, they had McCaffrey. There was rumours it was going to be McCaffrey, but that was before they put Purdy back in as well. So it was what was his name? Somebody Johnson or something. I can't even remember.
I can't remember the guy's name. It was irrelevant by then, wasn't it? It was totally irrelevant.
He ended up concussed on the back of that pass rush anyway. So
well, we've laid down the blueprint for you, Tom. If you don't want to face either of them, just get to the quarterback.
Yeah. Easier said than done though, because that 49ers defense is still something special as well. So even if we do get the ball back, although I know that Aaron Donald's not retiring, which is always a problem. That's my one nugget of hope. Yeah.
I did see comments for Aaron Donald today where he was saying that he's going to lead the Rams back to prominence. So he's certainly started talking a good game. Obviously, on the back of Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp on that offense, if you've got the two of them and they're fit, you've kind of always got a chance. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, Ramsey will be a big loss for you guys, but it'll be interesting to see how the draft guys turn out.
Yeah, no, I've not paid attention to the draft for years. Haven't had to.
The Rams basically gave up their draft for the last 4 years, to be fair.
It's not even the last 4. It's like 20... Yeah, the last first-round pick was Jared Goff.
Here you go. So, it's certainly been a while. But again, it worked out for them at the end of the day because they got a Super Bowl on the back of it. So, they can't complain. But it's it'll be interesting to see what kind of team McVay pulls together and whether these can get after guys like Purdy or Lance, whoever it may be. So big extension for Shaq Mason. So he was traded to the Texans during the draft from the Bucs as an outside guard. So obviously try to get some protection in for CJ Stroud. He signs a $36 million extension. So obviously Texans seem to be certainly building. They're trying to get a bit of protection around CJ Stroud and for me give him the best possible chance to succeed. So I think the Texans could be interesting. All depends on how DeMeco Ryans gets these players working, and I think a legend in Texas in Houston as well. So I think he's going to be given time, isn't he? So be interested to see how his draft picks turn out. And this one, guys, I purely put this in for Brian on the crew, who, as Kev, you very well know, he is a massive Baker Mayfield lover. So the Bucs OC said he's not rushing any decision between Baker and Kyle Trask for the starting QB's job. Though the competition is on in Tampa Bay, Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield. What do you guys think about that one? As I say, I'm more going to put that in for how you laugh, but it was for Brian because I know he will be listening.
I immediately thought of Brian when I saw it, and I think it's hilarious. I don't know whether I'm rooting for Baker, like just because I know how upset Brian will be if he doesn't get the starting slot there, or if it would just be hilarious if he didn't get it, just to see how Brian reacts. But I think Baker will get the job.
But what about you, Tom? You get any particular feelings, or do you just feel like
when it comes to Baker Mayfield, I just don't know what he's just one of them quarterbacks who's just 1 week he looks like he can set the league on fire, and the next week he just the last 6-7 games with the Rams he was looking exceptional. It's just a shame he didn't really have anything else. But
yeah, definitely. I agree. He's hot and cold. He is one of those quarterbacks that like must frustrate the life out of the teams that he's at. the fans and the teammates, etc. But I think he's shown enough to suggest that he'll get at least the starting job to begin with. It'll be his to lose, I think. So, oh, we've lost Studs again.
Yeah. Is it on a pay-as-you-go meter or something?
That's the running joke, Tom, is that he steals his neighbour's Wi-Fi, and his neighbour switched the Wi-Fi off. I don't know what the script is. But, so I suppose on to the last piece of news while we're waiting on returning. It's on the ticker there, so we know what it is. It's the Foster Morrow deal. He's been paid. His deal's been extended because he's been diagnosed with cancer, I believe is the story.
Oh.
So I think that's really classy. You hear stories like that now and again in European football where players get a bad injury and their teams extend their deal just to get them through rehab and stuff. But that's even better. It's cancer that he's got and they're looking after him. So I think that's great. What do you think?
I completely agree. I'm trying to think. I've seen a similar. I can't remember what sport it was, but there was a similar deal for. Actually, no, they had a deal for Christian Eriksen originally when he had his heart attack at Tottenham.
Yeah. Aye.
But no, it's good that they're still going to be paying him. Problem with cancer is anything can happen with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, I suppose the money's nice, but at the end of the day, you would give it all up. I'm sure to be healthy and to be given the all clear. But the sad thing is, although it's absolutely the right thing to do, it's not always the case. But it's good to see that the team's looking out for him in this situation. So that's good. Just wondering if Studs is going to return or we just carry on cracking on through this.
I think we can possibly. Well, what's the next section after the news anyway? It's the international games, isn't
it's
it?
moving on to the fixture list, the fixtures released for this season.
Actually, I do have one news story, and it relates to the first quarterback I got excited about, Mr. Sam Bradford, before his MCL broke all my dreams back in. But he recently got admitted into, I think it's the American Indian Athletic Hall of Fame. It's one of these I didn't know it existed until, but for whatever reason, on my Google alerts, I get Sam Bradford news just to sort of mock me. But no, apparently he's one of the few players. He's one of the few NFL guys in there. It mostly gets given out to baseball, or I think baseball guys, or really ancient footballers like Jim Thorpe.
Right.
Nice little touch.
Yeah. So when did that happen? Is that just breaking news?
Because Sam Bradford, I didn't know it at the time, but enrolled citizen of the Cherokee Nation.
Right. Wow. So this is a Hall of Fame for sportsmen who are American Indians, yeah?
Yes. So it's
American sports persons.
Yeah, it's for all sports. It's
Cool.
There's mostly athletic guys like Olympic gold medalists like Billy Mills, or like titans of world sport like Jim Thorpe, but no, apparently Sam Bradford made the cut. Although I think that's more for his Heisman season at Oklahoma than anything he's done in the NFL.
Well, I didn't know that Hall of Fame existed either, so that's quite interesting news. And good on him. Good on Bradford.
Yeah, he's also the first jersey I got was a Sam Bradford jersey. I still got it actually somewhere. The second one I got was a Greg Zerline. That one, slightly happier memories of that one.
Yeah. Well, my first jersey was a Michael Vick jersey. Michael
Classic.
Vick absolutely got me hooked on NFL. The first match I ever watched was the Eagles against the Redskins. Michael Vick, I think he set like 3 NFL records in the first half in that game. He was absolutely incredible. And I'm watching this game as my first NFL game, thinking this is just the NFL. This is what happens. So it's kind of sadly been downhill from there. But Vic was something.
Well, I had a similar experience of my first game I watched live in person, because it was the London one between the Jags and the Colts. The one that turned out to be an absolute shootout. Yeah. And I thought, oh, great, this is what every NFL international game is going to be. And then the second one I went to was Dolphins versus Saints, when it was Jay Cutler. And it was just abysmal.
Yeah. How did that one finish?
Oh, it was one-sided to the Saints. And normally in these one-sided, and the problem was, it wasn't that the Saints were good. It was just the Dolphins were so bad that they made quite a mediocre Saints team that day look like they could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So will we move on then and talk about the fixtures that are released today?
Oh, yes.
Now, you'll have to forgive me because I'm not sure. They haven't released the whole entire fixture list, have they? It's just certain fixtures that they've released so far.
I think it's just for prime ones. Well, and obviously the international ones, just to get a bit of hype in. I think it's just so they can put Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform to get people excited.
And a promo, yeah. I must admit, like, my first reaction, the ones that I've looked at there, obviously the one that jumped out at me was Eagles against the Giants on Christmas Day. So as an Eagles fan, that's my Christmas either made or ruined, depending on the way the game goes. But it's something to get really excited about in Christmas. And then, I mean, we all know that Christmas, when you're an adult, just becomes a bit crap. So, it's for the kids. But now Christmas is all for me. I get to sit and watch my team and hopefully really enjoy it. And the other game that I found really interesting is the Jets against the Bills on Monday Night Football in the first week. Can't wait to see Rodgers in the Jets jersey, see that new Jets team, the new Green Bay Jets. And obviously, I don't expect anything other than a Bills win there. I expect the Bills to absolutely run over the top of them, but it will be really intriguing to watch and see how the Jets are shaping up.
Oh, definitely. Because even when they had White under centre for a few games, the Jets are just one of these annoying teams where they always feel like they're on the cusp of doing something great, and then they do something very typically Jetsy.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a very boisterous fan base, haven't they? One of the first times I was in the States watching NFL over there, I was in a bar, and the bar was practically empty. There was like myself and about 3 or 4 other folk dotted around, and then one table full of people, and they just spontaneously jumped up and was doing Jets chants, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? But yeah, so I think that their fans will be hoping for big things this year. I think it'll be good to see if they can put a good team on the park. But I'm not convinced either. Just like yourself, they always seem to threaten and never deliver. And any other games?
Well, annoyingly for me, when it comes to the schedule, I've been looking for the Rams one, but they don't get released till 5 p.m. Pacific.
Right.
So that'll be midnight. But from the games, obviously, Aaron Rodgers for the Jets is going to be a big one. I think Bills Jags is still probably my. I think that'll be the best of the international fixtures, but
yeah,
again, that's dependent on if the Jags can step up from last year. They're getting there, and Trevor Lawrence is definitely going to be around for a while, but he needs a good offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, he started to really pick up last year, didn't he? He's starting to show what all the hype was about. So it'll be interesting to see if he can kick on this season. And those will be interesting games to watch to just gauge how much he's developing. All right, Studs, we got you back.
Got you back in, boys. Apologies for that. My computer has absolutely shit itself. I have had to join on my phone, so I do apologise.
We've just limped on, trying to follow your schedule as best we could. I know. Were you wanting to do a little heartfelt speech about the Moreau deal? Or?
The Moreau, so as I say, I wanted to save that one and then get cut off just before we're about to speak about it. So I must admit, there's part of me, there's a cynical side to it as well, right enough. So Foster Moreau's signed an $8 million guaranteed deal with the Saints for 3 years. I think it's worth up to $12 million all in, but it's $8 million guaranteed. Whilst he starts his battle with cancer, which was obviously discovered when he was going through his medical with the Saints. I suppose the cynical part of me wants to ask you boys. I mean, I feel it as a nice touch for the Saints, but obviously they were in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes and they were quite clearly trying to get him. We all know how that worked out. A lot of people weren't happy with it. Is this them maybe trying to get fans back on side and show, look, we do have a good side. We fucked up with the Deshaun stuff. We're actually a nice team and try to get their fans back on side, do you think?
Yeah, very possibly. I mean, when you were off air there, Studs, I did say that it's a shame because although it's absolutely the right thing to do, what they've done, unfortunately, it doesn't always happen, and that sometimes you do get a bit skeptical and think, well, why are they doing it really? But I would like to think that it was just absolutely because it's the right thing to do. There was nothing more to it than that, but. Yeah, you never know.
No. What about you, Tom? Do you think it's just heartfelt thing, nice thing to do for the club, or do you think there is any cynical aspect? I suppose cynicism's a pretty Scottish thing. We're quite good for it.
I think they could do with all the good publicity they can get, just because it's not an organisation with a particularly great record for integrity. Great fans. I've been to New Orleans, I think, once or twice on a ship. Really, really impressive area, great fan base. But I mean, it's Bountygate territory. They will do anything to win or anything that they think they can get any money from, and that's not just because I'm not a particularly big fan of the Saints.
Nah, definitely. I think, as I say, it was more the cynical side, probably being Scottish, thinking, is this to try and, as you said, get some good publicity around that team, and especially after last year. And I think the Falcons are probably two teams that could be doing a lot of good publicity after try to sell their soul for Deshaun Watson, really. And obviously, we all know that Cleveland was willing to do the bigger deal with the devil and crack on. But certainly, as I say, hopefully, I think his tweets have been very positive. He's going to, I think it was some along the lines, he's going to go kick cancer's ass and get back to doing what he loves. So hopefully we see him back on the field pretty soon, because I think he was a pretty useful player for the Raiders now and again. So Brian popped in with what's a soul there. As a Residents Brown fan, he will know. or not know. So, as I say, obviously I've dropped off, guys, so I'm kind of chasing my tail a little bit here in terms of what you guys kind of got up to. So where did we get to? Did we start cracking on about the schedule? And
we hit the schedule. So we both talked about the games we're most excited for that have come out. Although I know with teams in the West, a lot of them are trying to release theirs 5 p.m. Pacific, so you probably won't hear anything from the NFC West yet, because the Rams schedule page is saying, please stay tuned.
I know, I must admit, I was trying to kind of have a wee look before we kind of became live to see which ones had been fully released, and the NFL page wasn't giving me much, to be honest. That is really what I heard on NFL. I think I'd put in my notes earlier on what games are we most looking forward to, what games are going to be like a wet fart and leave us disappointed, really. I think for me, I really can see, obviously, Christmas is there. It's a family time. Kev, I know you're going to be invested in this. Murdo's going to be invested in it as well. I can really see us ended up divorced, me, you and Murdo sitting in a pub together probably, because our wives have kicked us out, because we've got the Chiefs, Raiders, we've got the Giants, Eagles on Christmas Day of all days. So 2 massive divisional rivalries. I don't know what the NFL's trying to do to us. I really don't. It's crazy, and I mean, I think even you look at Hogmanay over here, we've got the Chiefs Bengals as well, so another massive game in Hogmanay.
I was going to say, Studs, if you survive Christmas, your relationship will definitely overcome come New Year's Day with another big one in prime time. I could have guessed the 2 games you were going to pick out might have been Christmas Day and Hogmanay.
Mate, honestly, it's as soon as I seen the Hogmanay one, my initial thought was I can't wait to have some banter with Stu on Hogmanay. Obviously, he's over there in Edmonton, big, massive Bengals fan. I just thought, if that's on at the right time, my kids are going to be in bed after the bells. I'll be able to sit up, watch that, have a bit of banter with Stu. Any Chiefs primetime game, I'm always chatting with Jules in Kansas City, who I stayed with when I was over there coaching. So I'm always chatting to her whenever there's a Chiefs game on prime time and we're sitting back and forth. So any opportunity for a wee prime time game, I'm absolutely delighted for it. And I think one of the ones that kind of jumped out at me, I think, was a Black Friday one as well. Obviously, it's going to be our first Amazon Black Friday game. I think it's the Dolphins and the Dolphins and Jets. Dolphins Jets on Black Friday.
Yeah, Dolphins Jets.
Jets is the Black Friday one. So I think that's got the potential to be an interesting one. Obviously, another
depends on if Tua can stay fit.
Very, very true. It could be. Can Tua stay upright? Is probably one thing, and can Aaron Rodgers get the Jets firing? I suppose.
Yeah.
So, as I say, not all Homer picks for me. Just a wee Dolphins Jets one in there. I thought that looks quite interesting as well. But
yeah, we talked about the first Monday night football game, the Rodgers Jets against the Bills. That if that doesn't whet the appetite for the opening weekend, then I don't know what will, because that's going to be really, really interesting. There
has been a leak, and Rams Seahawks as well for one of the late games on week 1.
That could be interesting. I must admit, I'm not a fan of starting with a divisional game. I'm quite happy to see my divisional games kind of week 3, week 4. You've had a couple of games to kind of get started and then start those divisional games. I don't like starting with a divisional game, I must admit.
Yeah. Although weirdly, they're not stopped. Although weirdly, same week, 49ers will be at the Steelers. So they're not even matching the divisionals. The NFC West.
that'll be interesting how they figure that one out kind of later on. As set, I think opening weekend's really going to be interesting. Obviously, I think the Lions in the opening night at the Chiefs is going to be interesting because the Lions' offense was pretty tasty. Last year, I must admit, I thought I wanted to see the Eagles come night one. I think it would have rubbed the Eagles' noses in it a little bit, but I think it, and that's not why I wanted it, Kev, to be honest. I wanted it because I would love to, I can't wait to see the repeat of the Super Bowl. I just think it's going to be a great game when that's announced. I think it's going to be a great game. I wasn't wanting you to come over because that's the ring ceremony day and you're raising the banner and all that. I just wanted, that was a hell of a game at the Super Bowl. I want to see it again. And to start with that, it would have been.
If that was our first game of the season, I'd be over the moon. Because, like I said, I can't wait for the season to start already. But if that was announced as the first fixture, then it would make it even better. But yeah, we'll get there eventually, Studs. You just take care of business on your side. Let us take care of business on our side. We'll get a repeat, don't worry.
Maybe see a repeat Super Bowl. I wonder. I know we kind of got back to the Super Bowl after in Tampa, but we don't talk about the Tampa Super Bowl. So we get back after winning it that year. But it's certainly be interesting to see if there's a time when two teams have kind of made it back-to-back seasons. I think opening weekend's going to be an absolute cracker, to be honest. And then it's just all going to kind of snowball for there. From a Rams perspective, Tom, is there any particular games? Obviously, you've seen who you're scheduled to play home and away. Is there any that you're going to be picking out and saying you want to know when this game is, you want to know when that game is?
Well, it's interesting. We've got Seahawks week 1 in Seattle. That one, it's not the game I would have wanted to start with, but it's definitely, I think that's probably going to be one of the games of the weekend. We've also, the Rams seem to have it relatively easy because we've got, I mean, granted we have to play a lot in the NFC East, but so obviously that means Eagles and all of the Eagles, Cowboys, but it also means a game against the Commanders. So a potential couple wins from that. I think the matchup that will be interesting will be when LA take on the 49ers the first time. Because that will determine how much I drink for the rest of the year.
It'll depend. If it goes well, it'll be celebratory drinks. If it doesn't go so well, it'll be commiserations.
Yeah.
Definitely. Kev, what about yourself? Obviously, Chiefs, Eagles, we've kind of touched on. I think you guys coming to us, isn't it? So you guys are coming to Arrowhead for that game.
Yeah, when is that?
I don't know if it's been announced as yet. Unless
I didn't
missed it.
think so. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Obviously, we've mentioned the Giants on Christmas Day as one of the games. Any other ones?
Eagles at Chiefs Monday night.
Monday night?
Yeah, Monday night. It's week 11.
Oh, Tues will be hitting us for them.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be somebody's always got to go.
And listen, if we get to 11-0 at that point, I don't care who loses. If the 2 years are 11-0 at that point, then it's been a hell of a season so far. So I'll be delighted. But obviously, Cowboys is one that you must always earmark, Kev, as an Eagles fan. You guys hate the Cowboys. Cowboys hate the Eagles. Any other ones that jump out at you? You're looking forward to?
No, I mean, we were talking about it while you were off, but we did get started on this, and I mentioned obviously the first Monday Night Football. I mentioned the international games. The one I would quite like to go see if I can would be down to the Ravens, Ravens Jags, is it?
Oh no, Ravens Titans.
Oh, aye, Ravens. I would like to go to that. I can't wait to see how the Ravens shape up this year. They've done a bit of business. They've got Lamar on his extension, paid him. Aye, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they shape up this year. So I'd quite like to get down to watch that game since the Eagles aren't going overseas this year. So that was another one I picked out, and then the obvious one, like you mentioned, Christmas. As I said, Christmas isn't for adults; it's for kids. But this makes Christmas for me. So yeah, that one. But yeah, I mean, you know what? I think we've just been starved the NFL for so long that they could announce that. It doesn't matter what crap they put up there and say this is going to be the fixtures. You start to get excited, don't you? Because there's games coming up. There's games coming along. So yeah, just whatever they put up there, I'll be giddy.
No, definitely. And you touched on obviously the international games. I think they were announced first before the obviously full schedule releases today. So we had the 1st of October, we've got the Jaguars Falcons, 8th October, Jags Bills, 15th, we've got Titans Ravens, and that's all in London. Then into November, we move over to Germany for the first time. They're going to have 2 games. We've got November 5th, Dolphins versus Chiefs, and November 12th, the Colts versus Patriots. So an old rivalry renewed there in the end as well. Obviously, 2 very different quarterbacks than when they had the rivalries in the AFC. So it'll be, I think, for me, that's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, what kind of Mac Jones are we going to see this year? Is Anthony Richardson going to be starting? Is it going to be the Gardner Minshew Colts versus the Patriots, or is it going to be Anthony Richardson? So I think there's still some good bits to kind of play out there in Germany. Tom, you got any plans to try and get down to any of these games, or have I maybe missed that at the start?
No. Ideally, I'd want. Well, I mean, ideally, I'd want to go to all 6. I'd like to go to all of the international games, so that would not happen. If I could go to one, well, actually, there's 2 that I'd really like to go to. The first one in Frankfurt between the Chiefs and the Dolphins, I think that has the potential to be a game of the season, or it could just be a complete walkover for the Chiefs. Again, it depends on how fit the Dolphins are by. When is that one? Because that one's either week like 11 or 12.
Week 9.
Week 9, and then I think we play a game. And then I think week 11, I think it's actually our bye, unless I'm not sure. But it's normally they do straight back for an international game. You get into a bye, which I find it quite interesting that I think we actually play the Dolphins and then we play again. I think we play the Raiders and then we go into a bye. So it's maybe the Eagles after the bye week. I'm not sure. I'd need to double check that one, but
yeah,
I think Frankfurt will be a cracking atmosphere. It's one again. I'd love to go over there for that one. I think the German fans we saw last year, they'll make it an atmosphere. I just think it'll be a great atmosphere, great to be involved in. Sorry, Tom, I jumped in there. You were mentioning obviously there's a couple of ones you'd love to get to.
Jags Bills will be the other one. Again, it's the matchup there. It will depend on what offensive line Trevor Lawrence has got, how many weapons the Jags are able to maintain. We all know how good the Bills' defense is, and obviously how good Josh Allen is. That has a potential to be quite good. Also, by about week 10, I mean that the second one in Frankfurt could be well, it depends on how Mac Jones is filling in, and if they've got rid of Gardner Minshew from the Colts. But either way, it won't be the worst game that week because they've also got Panthers and Bears on on Thursday night. So.
No, definitely. I think the Colts Patriots one has got a sneaky potential there, as you mentioned, to be certainly curious for most people. As I say, it's a big season for Mac Jones. It really is. He was very poor last year. Obviously, I think the joint offensive coordinators didn't help him. He's got Bill O'Brien coming in for Alabama this year, so it'll be interesting to see how he does.
I think if anybody's looking for a game to go to, the international risk, like especially in the UK, it's got to be the Ravens Titans. I mean, forget about Charles. I know he's had his coronation. Good on him. But, the real kings come into the UK on that week. Has any of you guys seen King Henry in the flesh?
Do you think, is there a playing seat big enough to fit him in? The guy must be huge. He's a unit.
Aye. I don't know how he's getting here. He's maybe getting one of those airship carriers or something. I don't know, but he's coming. That's the one I want. I mean, Lamar Jackson, hopefully balling. You know, Derrick Henry. That's got to be. If anybody's looking for a game to go to, that's the one you want to go.
I don't think Derrick Henry will be doing the high knees up and down the aisle like Russell Wilson was last year, certainly. I think the plane will probably crash if he starts doing high knees. And that, as you mentioned, that certainly has potential to be an absolute a rushing battle, to say the least. Obviously, we know Lamar's mentioned he wants to chuck the ball more, but we all know what his rushing ability is.
Well, he's got weapons now, though, so I mean, he's got weapons. He can chuck the ball, and I think he's probably putting that out there, saying, "I'm going to chuck the ball. I'm going to chuck the ball." You know, watch teams cover the pass and just let him run. But he's got options now. I think that's going to be really exciting to watch. So yeah, that's the one.
It'll be interesting to see how he gels with it's a new offensive coordinator as well. So certainly be interested to see how Lamar gels with him and gets it going. So I think we're in for obviously a treat of international games. Jaguars Bills. We've obviously got Trevor Lawrence versus Josh Allen. So that will certainly have its own interests. I mean, from my perspective, obviously we certainly weakened the Jags offensive line by taking Jawan Taylor as a free agent. Then they had another offensive lineman get banned for substance abuse for 6 weeks as well, and then their first pick they took an offensive lineman, I'm assuming, to cover that side of things. So I think your point, Tom, about trying to see what kind of offensive line's protecting Trevor Lawrence could certainly be interesting. But again, I think Jags themselves, I think, are going to be an interesting proposition. They got to the playoffs last year, ran the Chiefs close. There's no denying that in the playoffs. Obviously, I think if Mahomes doesn't get rolled up on, then I would have expected us to be more comfortable. I think it's certainly slowed us down. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And then the big player in the draft is coming to the UK, Bijan Robinson. Everybody has been raving about this guy. He's the next LaDainian Tomlinson. He's the next Barry Sanders. There's been all sorts of comparisons thrown out, and he's coming to town with the Falcons. So, and I do think we're in for a treat, as I said, internationally. But I think we'll all certainly be tuning in, and if we can get down to them, I'm sure the crew will be sharing some content from our travels as well. Is it just, I suppose, a kind of side question, Tom? Is it ever something you guys have done as a team trip? I know, is your season still going when international games kind of kicks in, and you could maybe plan a team end of season trip down to one of the London games and just make a full weekend of it?
For the Pirate seniors, and I know it's also the same for Highland, the national playoffs they are normally scheduled for early September, so that normally means the international games are okay. With women's football, there's a bit more of an overlap. I think most of the international games are okay, but it depends when Baffert decide to put the playoffs. I know with some of the other, and then there's the complication of Uniball that kicks off pretty much at the training for that normally starts around September, October, depending on the university. And particularly with the likes of EK, there's always like a relatively large uni contingent, just because. Well, I mean, you've got Glasgow Uni, you've got Strathclyde, you've got all of them.
Yeah. No, fair dues. Just can I come into my head? And I know certainly, I was a soccer player here, played football, and like the changing room camaraderie was a big thing, and it was like, you couldn't wait to the end of the season to get your trips out to Newcastle as a team or your trip away. So I was thinking, from an American football side, I was like, well, if your season's over, an ideal opportunity. Let's all get down to the international games, see if we can get tickets and go for there type thing. So it was just kind of popped into my head. So, right, I am just bringing up so we normally do this thing, Tom, where we call it our statistic of the week, and it's named Statistic after our good friend and crew member Stu, who is a Canadian interloper. He's originally from Scotland, but he stays over in Edmonton now, and he's a Bengals fan. So he's normally tasked every week he's on the pod to come up with what we call a statistic of the week. Unfortunately, Stu's can't be with us today, so it's fell onto my shoulders, and I hope my internet doesn't kick me out just as I start reading through it. But I've actually got two for you guys, so it's a wee question we ask and see if you can kind of get the answer. So, obviously, big thing is the international games. So I've kind of kept it in that theme. So the first international game outside of the US was actually in Toronto. And again, tying it into our friend Stu, we've got a Canadian link there. In 1926, and it was a 28 win for the American Football League, New York Yankees versus the Los Angeles Wildcats. Now, London, as we could probably have guessed, has hosted the most regular season games. Now, can you tell me which city has hosted the most international NFL pre-season games? So not regular season, pre-season. So we've got a lot to choose for, obviously, but
I like every city in the world outside of the US.
I think Tokyo.
Everything outside of the US. What are you saying there, Tom? Sorry, I think
Possibly Tokyo, because they used to have. They obviously had the Wembley pre-season ones in the 80s, but I think they also had Asian ones as well.
Right. What do you think, Kev?
I don't know. I think it would be closer to home. I think it's going to be like kind of Central America or South America. Maybe going to just, I don't know why, but something's telling me to say Brazil. So I'm going to say Brazil, but I'll probably
Brazil.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you know what? Sorry, Rio. Brazil's not a city, Kevin.
Aye, well, it was miles. That's why I just left you. Tom's actually back on. It is Tokyo. Tokyo's hosting six, and Tom's again. The knowledge banging on right away is like they used to have the regular pre-season game over there in Tokyo. I've listened to numerous podcasts where they talk about how they hated it, but the fans used to go nuts for them. So no, Tom, absolutely bang on that one.
Well in, sir.
Yeah.
So, second question, again, international theme, but this time I'm going to keep it closer to home. I'm going to focus on the London games. Last year, we saw the very last team come to the UK, which was the beloved Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And I know Liam and Murdo had a good old ding-dong down in Wembley about that game between the Giants and Packers. So the Packers were the last team to visit the UK for a regular season game. Only one team has never scored a point in the UK. Now, there is a team who's been multiple times and not scored, but there's one team that's visited once and never scored. Do you know, out of the 32 teams, who has never scored a point in the UK?
So
It's
it's
like the New York Jets.
What was that? The Bills or the Jets?
This feels like it's either going to be someone like the Jets or possibly like the Chargers. No, actually, no. Maybe not the Chargers.
It's a team that's only been once. So there's been more than one team that's been here and put up a donut, but all the other ones that have done it have been back and scored. So this one team has only been once and not scored. I don't know. Can I phone a friend? I'll phone Danny or Scott. I'm sure they'll be screaming.
I'm just trying to see if there's any comments in that have popped in to help, but I can't see any. So, what I will say is the Dolphins are the other team to have not scored, but the Dolphins, as you said, Kev, they've visited multiple times, but one occasion the Dolphins did come and put up a donut, and it was actually the same year this team visited and put up the donut. So what do you think? Do we give up? We want to take a guess. I've ruled out the Dolphins, obviously.
I'll just throw out the Saints, but I'm sure it's not the Saints. But no, in fact, it's not the Saints because I've been there and I've seen the Saints play.
But also, I saw the game. I saw them play the Dolphins at Wembley, and it was one of the times that the Dolphins got a donut.
Yeah, that was the very one. The Saints put up a donut in the Dolphins.
Do you remember what the other one was that year?
Oh, that year was.
Come on, we're getting there.
There was a lot of games though that year. That was when they expanded it.
It was. That when it was four games. Twickenham and Wembley. They had Twickenham and Wembley running, so there was 4 games that year. What do we think?
The Pats were there that year, right?
Who?
The Pats not there that year?
I think the Pats were. But would Tom Brady's Pats have put up a donut?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to process the elimination. It wasn't that game.
No, also
right, let's go. Right, well, I'm pushing you for times because so we're not putting a lot of dead air up there. I've put enough dead air up there.
Right, the Steelers. I'm going to guess the Steelers.
You've got Steelers. What do we think, Tom?
I'm going to go Washington.
Washington. Oh. What I will say is the team that scored the points in this game was actually your team, the Rams, and Todd Gurley had himself a day. He won 33-0 against the Arizona Cardinals, their divisional rival, at Twickenham in 2017. So the Arizona Cardinals have been over once and put up a donut. They're the only team not to have scored in the UK. So that's your statistic of the there, guys. So I did mention you'd probably like my statistic earlier, Tom, because it was in around the Rams. So
yeah. So I always forget that the Arizona Cardinals exist.
I need to be honest. I don't think you'll need to worry about the Arizona Cardinals existing this year. I think they are going to be the epitome of a tire fire.
Yeah, don't exist this year.
Definitely. Well, guys, that is us, and I can first of all only apologise for the issues. And Tom and Kev, honestly, you have my unlimited gratitude for pressing on. So listen, thanks very much, guys. I can only apologise for all the shitty internet that I had to deal with. I cannot believe my phone on the Wi-Fi seems to be smoother than my laptop. But no, listen, guys, thank you so much. So Tom, first of all, thanks very much for joining us tonight, and obviously discussing all the schedule release stuff and the news with us.
Yep, been a pleasure.
Good man.
And also, if you're also for anyone still watching, in terms of Britball this weekend, it's a bumper pack schedule for the Scots teams. All 3 from the Scots Division 1 are playing. So Glasgow Tigers are playing in the Clyde. Highland Stags are at Dunfermline. Aberdeen are against Clyde Valley. And our Pirates on Saturday are going down to Tamworth. So long bus journey, but it's definitely a winnable game.
Good stuff. You after I did see your result last week against, was it Wolves?
Yeah.
I think so. I wasn't wanting to mention that, I must be honest, but I always have a wee look out for the Pirate results on the football. So a tough loss for you boys. So hopefully you boys bounce back this week.
Yeah, the Wolves are definitely on the up. We're looking good to stay up. We obviously want to push for greater things for EK, but every game is winnable in this. Every game is winnable in the division. Anyone can beat anyone on the day. Edinburgh had the better day last week, and EK always travel well. So
yeah. No, definitely. I'll certainly be a result I'll be looking out for over the weekend, Tom. So I wish you boys all the best. And obviously, guys, if anyone is looking to reach out, Tom, if you have a Twitter handle or anywhere they can get information about the EK Pirates, send it on and we'll share the information as well.
Yeah, no, I can do that. Yep.
Good man. And Kev, again, thanks a lot for joining us and obviously persevering with my issues. So it was great to chat to you again.
Thanks very much, Studs, for thrusting me into the limelight tonight. I really enjoyed taking over as host. It was just great to chat. I've not been on the pod much the last couple of months, so it's been great to just chat NFL, and it's honestly got me buzzing for the new season. Like I'm sitting here so excited. I'm not going to sleep for the next few hours. Just need to kind of calm myself down a bit, switch off for thinking about it. But listen, Dan, it's been great to meet you. Thanks for coming on, mate, and good luck with the Pirates at the weekend.
Good man, Kev. Listen, again, thanks very much, Tom and Kev. Much appreciated tonight, guys, especially obviously with the issues I had. So thanks again for your time. And thanks to guys that were listening. Apologies, I must admit I forgot to check Twitter if you were interacting on Twitter with us. So I do apologise for that. That is completely on me. But please do like and subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter if you don't at the moment. It is at Irn-Cru, and that's at IRNCRU. We have our Instagram, which is also grid_Irn_Crew. So give us a like and follow on there. And in the words of our immortal red-headed friend Keith, remember, as the off-season, we're almost there, guys, and the crew will see you through. Thanks very much for listening.